Yeah, I have strong thoughts on that.
I bet they're wrong, so I'm excited to hear them.
This is Beers with Talos. Threats, beers, and no silver bullets.
Welcome back. This is Beers with Talos, episode 102. Today is February 23rd, 2021. I am joined, as always, by Matt Only, Joel Essler, and Craig Williams. Welcome to the show, boys. Let's get this one started. How you doing?
Yay!
Joel just can't. Everybody just look. Craig's here. He's alive. He survived the storm. That's awesome. I'm here. I'm in Maryland, so we know how to do storms, and it's okay. And we're having a good time. Mitch is in Florida. He doesn't know what storms are except during hurricane season, so we're all good. Joel's not here. Like, he's here, but he's not here, and you're just gonna have to deal with it this episode.
You get to deal with it. Darn it.
There we go.
Dude, he has his comfy Snuggie on. That's not even his formal.
Yeah, I know.
Like, Snuggie. It's a blanket.
It's like casual Friday Snuggie he's wearing.
That's right.
Now he looks like he's doing his Dune cosplay of one of those sandworms.
All right, let's go around the table. Let's start this one off the same way we start off every episode. Matt, you're top right today, so that means you're first.
Top right. What a privileged position. So this is a Tuesday recording, which means...
Where my GME is going up and to the right.
Yeah. To the moon.
To the moon.
Diamond hands. Diamond hands. Yeah, every day putting more money into it.
Look at Craig's resistance. Look at it. It's great.
He's literally seething.
He's
for everyone who's not on the premium YouTube
can't
feed.
See. He's been obsessed with Wall Street bets for years. He's like their ambassador to Talos.
Yeah.
He's looking at us like, why are you doing this to me and making me wait my turn?
Nope.
I mean, it's a Tuesday episode, which means I have prepared nothing because I've been having to do all my regular work on Mondays and Tuesdays, and it has been packed this week. What a week. But I'm super excited actually for today's episode because I love the answering listener question episodes. They're my favorite.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
that's my so if you don't follow, I don't know, one of us or Talos Intelligence on Twitter, do that. So the next time we do a listener episode, you can get your question in. Or if you have a question and you want us to answer it, don't wait till we ask you. Just email us and tell us what it is. And Mitch will tell you what the email address is.
That is beerswithtalos@cisco.com.
Easy to remember.
Are you trying to sell me a VPN service? Because that seemed like the same voice.
Brought to you today by Raid's Shadow Legends.
Joel, what's on your mind today, buddy?
What's on my mind today? I'm not going to answer that question.
It's probably for the best. That was a bad lead question.
I'm not going to answer that question. Yeah, I was out for the past week. I took a trip to Florida, where the weather was in the mid 80s the entire time. Mitch, I'd like to sample your weather. I'd like to bring it back with me in a bottle. That'd be great. I don't know. I went down to Florida. We went to a theme park where everything was very surprisingly sanitary for those of you that have not been to a theme park during COVID. And
you know,
we had a good time.
All sane people.
Yeah, I'm not saying. No, we had a good time, and we enjoyed ourselves, and I was pleasantly surprised about the state of the parks we went to during this time that we live in. But we had a good time. I rode my first roller coaster that went upside down. I've never done that before.
How?
Really? Are you serious?
Yeah. So as a kid, I was deathly afraid of roller coasters. I thought I was going to die on every single one of them. So I never rode one.
Didn't you watch the people coming off alive though?
Yeah. So I never rode a roller coaster when I was a kid, and I only started riding roller coasters when I was about 36. Because my son was like, "Dad, let's get on a roller coaster," and I was like, "All right." And
time to pretend for the boy.
Yeah. So we had a ball, is what I'm trying to say.
That sounds awesome.
And the weather down here is absolutely glorious.
Amazing.
And I noticed something, and I'm hoping this means that, like, I've been following, as we were getting into spring, I planned on buying, my son really has wanted, like, he really wants jet skis, but I really want a fishing boat. So I've been, like, looking around at, like, all these things and kind of tracking prices over time, I've noticed that the price of the used ones has been coming down. Like, it really shot up during the pandemic. And I've noticed those are really coming down. So I'm hoping that is some kind of like, like Florida secondhand market, like recovery indicator that as people shed their like outdoor hobbies, like you can get kayaks dirt cheap down here right now. Like everybody's trying to get rid of them. So
Dude, I want a kayak.
How expensive are kayaks?
Well, I mean, like comparatively speaking. So if you got like my fishing kayak is, I don't know, probably about I could price out about $700 or so. I don't know.
$700.
Yeah. Like a stock regular kayak, like a Pelican kayak right now, you can get those dirt cheap down here.
Mitch,
a couple $100.
Matt doesn't spend a lot of time in Cabela's or Bass Pro. It's not a store he goes to.
I've been to Bass Pro.
You've been to Bass Pro once.
He's seen it. Yeah, he saw it from the parking lot. It was a big store. There was a fish.
I'm just thinking like a piece of plastic that floats shouldn't be $700.
It depends on how fast and stable you want that piece of plastic to be.
That's true.
Like that's really what it comes down to. What's been on your mind this week, Craig?
It occurred to me that I haven't had coffee like at all in over a year at this point.
That sounds terrible.
Wow.
Why would you live that life?
That sounds like a poor choice. I mean, that's just me though. I don't.
At some point, I ran out of coffee and just never bought any more.
I forgot.
Okay, so what you're saying is it has nothing to do with a health decision. You literally just made a poor life decision.
Yeah, I used to go to the coffee shop. I'd bring the kid. I'd get her a hot chocolate. I'd have a coffee. We'd hang out and talk for 20 minutes. And then we quit doing that. And then I just never had coffee because I never made it at home. I always just got regular black coffee. So it was super cheap. So I could just go whenever with the kid.
Most mornings I do drive to the drive-thru of Starbucks and get a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yep. And I am in like a weird fight with the Starbucks lady.
Oh, go on. I'm excited.
Is that a wise choice? I got to ask because she has most of the power in that relationship.
You'll see what I mean, right? Because I'm always like...
She holds all the caffeine, my dude.
Yeah.
So, like, to be fair, and it's an unfair fight because she has obviously had caffeine and I obviously have not had caffeine. Just
like getting in a fight with your dealer. I don't think you win.
Yeah. And so I'm like, we get, I order, I drive up, I show her my phone, she scans the Starbucks thing, it pays for the thing, hands me my stuff. I'm like, have a good day. And then she's always like, have a fantastic day. And I'm like, you can't. I don't want to get in like
have a stupendous day.
Fight
you
with,
you need to go back to her. Yeah.
That's where you stomp on the brake and you shout, "No, you!"
And I want her to generally have a good day, but you can't do like spectacular days every day. Nobody does that.
You just say it back to her while you're looking right in the eye.
And insist.
Mitch,
yes.
got it.
You need to be like, no, I insist that your day is better than mine. Am I clear? And then just drive away.
That's right.
Or just one up around the adjectives. How does it end? Do you have you gone back to like tell her to have a
no? Because
day par
every
excellence?
morning I'm like just barely functional enough to drive to the Starbucks because that's what I do in the morning. And my default is have a good day. And so I always say have a good day. And then if she's there, she's like, have a spectacular day. And I'm always like, oh, God damn it, this again.
She probably thinks she's helping. And meanwhile, she's putting you in little crisis for like 20 minutes.
So like everybody else, she's like, have a good day. But this guy, oh, look at him. He needs a spectacular day.
You need that extra little push to get out of the nest in the morning.
So much pressure.
I'm going to give him both barrels of greatness today.
There's a quarantine on how spectacular of a day could I possibly have?
So what you need to do is set a reminder which just has a link to the thesaurus for fantastic.
I should do Post-it notes.
When you pull into Starbucks. Yeah. And like it can bring you up a fresh one every time you pull.
That would be funny as shit. Is to get in Matt's car and he has a line of Post-it notes across his dash. That's all. And he just when she says something, he picks one off and he goes,
Yeah. We said, what about when the Starbucks lady figures out where all the Post-it notes are? He's literally just keeping a list across his desk.
Right.
Have a Cracker Jack day.
Have a Cracker Jack of a day there.
Oh, shit. Well, let's. I want to jump in to some of these audience questions that we have had submitted. We got some really good ones. And we got kind of inundated by the Aussies today on the questions. I don't know
That's
if you
because they
guys
were
noticed
awake
that.
when you
Sleep
tweeted it.
right now? What's going on with that?
I blame Rodney. I don't know about
Did
you
Rodney
guys.
ask any questions?
No, Rodney didn't answer a question, which is also on him.
Yeah.
But I believe this is his doing. It's totally. I mean,
I'll
if
back
you can
it.
blame
Sure.
a
I mean,
Tasmanian.
why not?
Why wouldn't you?
Would he rally
let's
the
blame it on
troops
Rodney.
and be like,
Something.
I'm fine with
know.
that.
Anyway, we did get a couple good questions. One that actually I hadn't had my coffee yet. So when he sent the upside down tweet, that really actually did throw
I
me.
read that with no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't need to turn my monitor.
Yeah?
I can read upside down.
I did catch his typo in his upside down
I was going to say,
tweet,
Annie
though.
had a typo in it. Yeah.
That's funny.
But no, his first question is, what is a topic you would like to write a blog post about, but can't because it doesn't fit the Talos image? Craig,
Yeah,
I know
think
you
we
have
have to go
thoughts.
with Craig first, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I hear this a lot, right? A lot of people think that we have like rules and things we can and can't talk about. But I don't think we've ever been told no on a topic. There are certainly topics with companies involved that people get nervous about and that people want to understand why would we do that. And every single time we've been able to sit down with the right people and explain what's going on, why it's a concern, and why customers need to know. And the right thing has always been done. We've always been able to publish. We've always been able to do what we want. I will say, I think there are times when we actually do sit down and good points are made, right? People will say, hey, look, I understand what you're trying to say, but if you phrase it like this, that comes across as really inflammatory, and it doesn't seem like that's your intention. And we'll actually think about it and be like, you know what? That's a great point. For example, one of the ones where this happened was the incident where Google revealed all the whois info for all their Google Domains customers. When we wrote the initial draft, I had kind of just slung it out, and I thought it was fine. But when I sat down with, I don't even remember who it was, somebody either from marketing or legal or something, they were like, hey, this section here, I think I understand you're trying to say this, but if you thought about the way that these sentences are phrased, and I'm like, oh, I absolutely had not considered it could be taken that way. Let's reword that. So we do stuff like that. We phrase things. We do work on the way that we phrase things occasionally, and we have, listen to people and take advice. I think that's really the important thing, right? We don't just scream no at the top of our lungs, right? That's not how you get your way. You've got to hear people out. You've got to try and understand their perspective and then figure out, is there anything to it? Because sometimes we write things that can be taken in a way that we absolutely didn't intend. Mitch, you called me out on one the other day in the customer support room, and you were right. I immediately changed what I'd written. So I really appreciate it when we do things like that, when we may have said things that we didn't intend, but we've never had a topic where they were like, don't do it.
I think topic-wise, no. But there's been, like there's some things that we do that we might, that I kind of default don't think about. Like one of the things is the large amount of government affairs work that kind of comes out of my team. We never really reflect, like it's not technical, and we tend to drive technical content. If it was something we really wanted to talk about more, like if we wanted to talk about our work with the World Economic Forum or with the Ransomware Task Force or any of the other different groups that we're working with, we might go with the Cisco security blog, just because it's not the kind of granola-y, crunchy technical content that we normally put forward. But there's plenty of like policy work that comes out of Talos in addition to the hardcore technical stuff as well that we don't talk about.
You gotta choose your
Right.
audience.
Yeah,
You gotta choose your audience, right?
Yeah, but I don't think we're prevented from
No,
doing it.
no,
We
that's
just-
definitely.
No.
But to the question, which was Talos image, I think that's the thing that kind of came up when I thought about it. It was like, if I wanted to talk more about it, I would probably go over to the Cisco blog rather than through Talos blog.
Now let's change that question up and make the you singular instead of plural. Craig, what's something you would want to post?
Yeah. Good question.
Why investing in meme stocks from Wall Street Bets is not a move for a first-time investor.
Or a 50th time investor.
Yeah. If you don't have significant holdings, you should stay away from meme stocks.
If your intent is to make money, you should probably stay away from meme stocks, just generally speaking.
So I should sell off the 100,000 shares I have of...
No, diamond hands, Joel. Diamond hands.
All right, I'll just hold them.
I press sold today. You can do it tomorrow.
Okay.
No, I think there's a lot of social things and things like that I have thoughts on that just aren't appropriate for me to voice at work. And that's why I have Twitter, where I can send all my stupid thoughts out into cyberspace and see what happens.
Yeah, that is definitely the stuff that gets edited the most out of the Talos podcast, is where we wander into hot button political topics where I don't none of our views are particularly problematic. It's just this isn't really the place.
We did get a few questions, and I'm going to try to amalgamate into one. So from Land Down Under, as well as Combat Penguin, and there were some others. We're all asking about, we haven't heard anything about Craig and his car troubles or his home automation nightmares in a minute. I think they're genuinely concerned that they've been suspiciously quiet.
The robots took a month off and nature stepped in.
Correct.
Nature was like, hey, robots, hold my beer.
That's right.
It's a little worse than that. If we look at the actual path, the robot killed itself. The robot was replaced. Nature stepped in and then broke the thing that keeps the robot alive. So the robot has been punished for its failure.
What happened to the robot that you used to have that threw treats at the dog?
Oh, I think my wife got creeped out by that.
What do you think?
And so it was thrown away. Yeah.
Your wife had to step in to be the security and privacy mastermind in that situation. That's what you're telling me.
It was like a shot of the dog getting fed, but my wife hated it, so we got rid of it.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. I was like, man, I can feed my dog from the office. This is the best. But my wife just did not like it at all.
That seems like it's problematic.
So everything has been good so far in Carland, and the robots have been quiet while nature took over. Is what I'm gathering.
That's what I hear.
And I will say, I think I'm going to get a Tesla for the next car. I was just waiting for Austin to get it.
You just lost power for like a week, and you're like, I'm going to get an electric car.
Well, so I had this feeling that with the Tesla Gigafactory...
Do you understand how we think you're begging for it now? At least.
Hear me out. Let me get my thought out.
Go ahead.
I feel like with the Tesla Gigafactory moving here, we might actually get our shit together with the electric grid for these charging cars and whatnot. Now, that may not be the case, but I feel like it's at least a step or two in the right direction compared to where we were when I got the Porsche.
We did get a question in from our old friend and former guest of the show, Michelle Dennedy.
Oh,
sent us a question, and she would like to know why metrics are sexy.
Oh, goodness,
Matthew.
Oh no! We were going to start with Craig because I know he's wrong, so I want to hear what he's going to say before I give him any cover.
This is going to be good. Go ahead.
So, I want to start this out. I think metrics are important. You've got to be able to measure the success and accomplishments of your business or your plan or whatever you have. However, I have had it happen multiple times in my life where the metrics were designed in such a way that you actually play towards simply running the metrics and having a good score rather than looking at the actual goal. So I think it's important that when you make the metrics, they don't consume an inordinate amount of time and they actually help you achieve your end goal. And your end goal isn't just having a metric that looks good. Do you know what I mean? Basically, don't game the system. Don't place.
They'll always game the system. Like, you can't say don't game the system. That's just not going to happen.
In our business, that's an understandable thought. But my point is more align your metrics so that if you get there, your end goal is accomplished, right? The goal shouldn't just be the metrics. The goal should be your actual goal, and the metric should be a thing you do along the way. So it's important what you pick for metrics, I guess, is what it really boils down to. And you've got to make sure that they are something that you can achieve without wasting resources just to accomplish the scoring of the metric.
Yeah. All right. That's not bad. That's not a bad take, Craig. Good job. I think first,
I'm concerned with how surprised you sound.
well, you were like when we went over this earlier, like before the thing, like you had a physical reaction to the question. Like you've been hurt by metrics in the past.
Show me on the bear where the metrics have hurt you.
Right in the consciousness.
No, so as a certainly it would be difficult to justify to most line people why metrics are important, right? It's just having started here at SourceFire as a research analyst too, and having gone through like all the stages of management up to being a director now at Cisco, you would never have been able to convince me as what we call an individual contributor that metrics are important. But as you gain scope in what you're working on, as your picture broadens and your ability to drill down into specifics goes away, those metrics become like footholds for you to grab and understand what's going on. You nailed it, Craig, by saying like not all metrics are effective, or to put it, in Michelle's, like not all metrics are sexy. What is sexy is when you have a leader as opposed to a manager defining metrics, and that leader understands where you are in the business, where you want to go, and how that business functions, and is able to design metrics that accurately reflect the good work that the units are doing, and also will flag for him areas of concern. Like, that's the thing about metrics that are important for me. Like, I don't spend a lot of time when I'm reviewing employees worrying about metrics, but when I'm checking in, I'll look at the metrics and be like, hey, why is this down, right? Is there something that's blocking my employees? Is there a data feed that's off? Is there, there's 1,000 things that may have been missed. And as a manager, those metrics help me know where to spend my time without being directed necessarily by any of the people on my team. So that's why I think I have grown to be very fond of metrics, both at a analytic perspective, because we do a lot of automated analysis, so those metrics are important to tell us kind of what's going on in the world, and also in a management perspective.
I would agree with that. Metrics and key performance indicators, like metrics and KPIs, should be synonymous terms. If you're measuring and metricing yourself on something that isn't a key performance indicator of your business, then it's most likely a vanity metric. That is the thing that Craig is talking about, that everybody fears. Like, it's just something that goes up that's a big number that makes eyes pop, and that's relatively useless in the best case, and in the worst case, perhaps detrimental to your actual performance.
Yeah, if you see people doing weird things to hit your metrics, then you've got some definition problems and some work to do. Speaking
of old friends, Nigel has tweeted us a question.
Was it a question?
I mean, the oldest of friends, if I'm being specific. Who's the greatest male rock singer of all time, and why? Is it Freddie Mercury?
Good question.
I mean, I don't think any of us are actually qualified to contradict Nigel's opinion on this, so I don't know how we're supposed to answer this question.
Well, one,
I agree with Nigel.
No countering that. That's the rock solid truth.
That's established facts.
Yeah. That is like foundational definition. Freddie Mercury is.
Are you better than Freddie Mercury? Answer: no. Like,
yeah. Yeah, it's like the
Right?
guy that came into the C interview for me. He's like, I'm the best C coder. I'm like, the best? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, hold on.
Stay right there.
I'll be right back.
I'll be right back.
Let me go get my best C coder.
Tell me you're better than Freddie Mercury, and like, it's not. You're not.
See, that's the thing is I think that you like, there is no, like, ordinarily speaking, like if you go up the rung of rock singers, you do eventually arrive at Freddie Mercury. And if you want to supersede that, you're going to have to you're going to have to wrap all the way around. It's going to be like Bob Dylan or something.
You know what's annoying about Freddie Mercury is that it's not any one. No, as a musician, it is like it's not any one thing, right? He is a brilliant vocalist, a genius composer, an artist of the highest caliber. Like, there's nothing that you look to in musicianship that he is not absolute top tier in. You know, Freddie Mercury, just unparalleled across multiple metrics for for excellence in rock stardom.
I got nothing.
Yeah, I don't know how that can be argued, which I know is going to be disappointing to Nigel listening to this. But yeah,
I know he knew that.
Nigel listens to this.
I mean, I think it was really just a diss at the Beastie Boys, though, because I mean they are a close second in vying for that.
That's painful.
You dug deep on that one. I enjoyed that. You dug deep.
That was a deep cut. It was a deep cut since we've had a Beastie Boys show.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Nice.
Dude, we got a couple other questions from Burn Freak,
All right.
who wanted to know thoughts on open source alternatives for security tools that are expensive. We also got a follow up on our favorite beers, which I am going to answer in just a minute.
I would even separate out the expensive piece on this, because it doesn't matter where you are. There's going to be gaps and kind of fissures between what you want and what you have. And the open source community fills in those gaps really well. And sometimes they fill in gaps you didn't realize that you had. And so, I mean, I started, like my security career was started by building security solutions for my cheap ass company that didn't spend money on security out of open source tools. Like, so built a SIM out of open source tools, built a NetFlow monitor out of open source tools. Like, so I'm a huge advocate of, if you see a gap in your company, fill it with open source to demonstrate value, and then you can go after funds to buy a commercial solution if it's better.
I really enjoyed and got a lot out of Metasploit when I was learning. I think we've talked about this a couple of times, but really the way I taught myself a lot of security was using open source. That's really how I got into computer security in general. I was like a stupid teenager with tons of attitude and access to a computer and very little supervision. And so I learned how to use Linux with like Red Hat Mother's Day 0.1 release from Sunsight. I had to physically mail off, like, I think a check to get like a CD set mailed back, because you couldn't download it, because back then it was long distance fees over the telephone line. So like to download it over a modem would have taken a week and cost $1,000. And so I got started out on open source software. You know, I was learning how to use GCC when I didn't even really understand what a compiler was. So yeah, open source to me is something that's super important. There are tools out there. It's almost harder now because there are so many tools. It's really easy to find the really good, well-known ones, right? Those are out there. There's tons of guides. But for every single well-known tool, there's probably 200 small ones that have varying degrees of awesome and little things they do differently and libraries you can use to do things. And so to me, open source really goes hand in hand with like the local computer security community, right? Folks who have had to do what Matt was talking about and use open source tools to solve specific problems. And so, you know, back before COVID, we would have meetings and stuff in person, and now we do them online and have chat rooms on Discord and whatnot. And it's a little different, but it's the same thing. And so to me, open source goes hand in hand with local computer security groups, with learning how to use computers. I mean, I don't know how you could have the computer security community without it, because you wouldn't have noobs. Noobs come from open source, you know?
I don't know. But I think we got a lot of great questions today, and I'm looking forward to the next time we do this. And like Matt said at the top of the podcast, like email us, beerswithtalos@cisco.com, send us a tweet at Talos Security, and fire us a question. And we love to do these episodes. I don't know about you guys. I'd like to do these a little more frequently than we have been doing them since we quit doing the in-betweens. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody who did send in your questions. We want to close out today, head around the table one more time for closing thoughts and parting shots. Matt, you started us off at the open, so why don't you start us off on the close?
The other thing that I'm thinking of, just based on a bunch of conversations I've had, both with family and friends and coworkers, is there's hope coming on the pandemic front, and lots of things just
infection rates going down.
Stay safe for a few more months. Keep your mask on, keep your distance. Don't go to theme parks. Smart stuff like that, and you'll be able to come out the other side safe and healthy, and able to fully enjoy it when things unlock more. So, just a few more months of vigilance from everybody, and we'll be in a much better place.
We will get there. Joe, you're up next, my man.
Go to theme parks and lick all the rails. No, I'm kidding.
My kid has done that. It worked out poorly.
No, I'm excited for when this is all over. I was having a conversation with one of my direct reports this morning, and she was telling me about, various people on the team that are, having a hard time. And I'm glad that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I feel like there's a light at the end of the tunnel, at least when I look at the COVID infection rate numbers. So hopefully that continues to plummet, and we can get back to normal at some point within the next 6 to 9 months. But here's hoping.
Craig.
Yeah, I will tell you, the weirdest thing about last week was when you have no power, no water, and the earth is trying to kill you. I didn't even think about COVID for a solid week. Didn't enter my mind, and I got to say, that part was nice. So I'm also
weird how Maslow's hierarchy of needs actually works.
Yeah. Dude, does it enter your mind? You're like, neighbor, you need water, food? I have, we can work this out. But yeah, I hope everybody takes the time they need. We're almost there. End is in sight. I also just wanted to add, I think if you know anyone out there who's trying to get into security, they probably don't know what open source tools to use. I know I didn't, and I kind of flumbled around for a while. So do everybody a favor. Go out there, find a noob, try and recommend a couple tools to them, and maybe help them along the way.
Fantastic. I did not get to, I just realized I did not get to Burn Freak's last question. So I did want to tell him in my closing shot. Today I was drinking another Reef Donkey from TBBC on the Tampa side of the bridge. He lives over on the St. Pete side of the bridge. I live on the Tampa side. And there's a big kind of a brewery battle across the bridge.
Isn't that where the Better Cisco office used to be?
Used to be.
Didn't you tell me that?
I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Feel free to subscribe, share the podcast with your friends. That stuff actually helps. And we will see you next time. Until then, cheers.